All right. So let's start with the elephant in the room that we did not end up watching Deified.
Ew, that was weird. I could not find it anywhere.
We couldn't find it, which, again, this is crazy because I looked for it earlier this year, and I swear it was available because that was one of the checks I did.
Right.
So we decided to do a little bit of a twist, and since we're always saying movies about Taiwan or heavily featuring Taiwan, we went for a non-Taiwanese movie, a Filipino movie, that is all about, you know it, you love it, Xinling Hospital. We're back, baby! Oh, no. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of Our Time. This is a show where we usually discuss the stories that move us, what makes them so interesting and meaningful. But this month, we have been discussing scary movies during our Fall Freakout event. I cover the supernatural. Michelle covers the body horror. Mm-hmm. And on our Good God. And on our ultimate episode, our last episode is really what I want to say. We watch one together, and the movie we watched this time was what, Michelle?
Infinite Screams?
No, Strange Frequencies. Not your rating.
No.
Was called Strange Frequencies Taiwan Killer Hospital, which, as I said at the beginning, fun callback. It's also at Xinling Hospital.
Yep. Which
we found out weirdly only after this movie. I didn't look it up this detailed after the first one. Is a real haunted hospital in Tainan that has tourist destinations and tours.
You could take a tour of this hospital.
At least one tour company in English has a page dedicated to it. I wouldn't recommend going there.
Why?
But I did fill in some gaps. Is this movie Taiwanese, Michelle?
No. Yes.
Explain.
Kind of. Well, okay. So they did actually film on location.
And this was a gap. This is why we had to look it up.
Oh, we were trying to, while we were watching, we didn't know that it was being filmed in Xinling Hospital.
I didn't know it was a real hospital.
Right.
I theorized that it had been a real hospital. I didn't know it was still standing. I thought this was like a fictitious place in Taiwan.
As we watched, I'm like,
this seems like more and more like a real place.
Yeah, I'm like, is this an actual hospital? And when we looked it up afterwards, and I'm like, oh no.
We found out they filmed on location, which is very fun.
Yeah.
We thought it was an abandoned business center for 2/3 of the movie. It is, in fact, just the abandoned hospital.
Yeah.
So that's cool. They also filmed on location at Michelle's Street, which was a really cool, scary coincidence.
Literally down the street.
You can look at the show page. I've put the photos there as proof.
And then once we're actually in the hospital itself, we do happen upon an altar where they do have kind of ritualistic stuff set out on the table.
It looks
incense.
like a typical ghost festival offering.
Exactly.
To me.
Yeah. A very Taiwanese ghost festival offering. Yeah.
Whether or not you saw our promotional, we will be giving you a summary, and then we're going to be discussing some things that the movie did very well. This is a found footage movie. Pretty true found footage. The last time we did it last year with
Incantation.
Yeah, I think that was sort of like more of a mix, more of a 50-50. This movie felt much more like a true found footage movie. There was a little bit of fourth wall stuff that was very fun.
Yeah.
Trigger warnings.
Very few, actually.
Suicide.
There is suicide, and obviously it's murder.
You see suicide. I would say the thing is that this is one of the few where you actually see like the immediate effects of a suicide.
Oh, that's true. On screen.
Yeah. So that's upsetting.
Yes. There is assault.
Just kind of like gross, disgusting imagery.
Yeah. A little bit of warty skin condition. Then there's a little bit of blood, but nothing over.
Kind of illness.
Right. There's nothing over the top.
All in all, one of our more watchable films, but still scary.
Yes, perspiration, I think, is the biggest trigger warning.
Sweat. Is this a trigger warning? It might be. If you hate sweat, you're going to hate this movie. These guys are sweaty all the time, and the camera is literally like
on their face,
6 inches away from their face. This is not an exaggeration, which I think was a good thing.
Yeah.
But if you hate sweat, this is not for you.
Oh, it's drippy.
It's not for you. Oh, ew. But true. Always drippy. Always be dripping.
I mean, I would be.
Always be filming, always be dripping. Okay, so the other thing that I think we should mention before we start is all of the main characters. The Filipino actors were fantastic. We also found out afterwards They played themselves.
They're all celebrities.
We now know about 8 Filipino celebrities that we didn't know before.
Yay!
There's a lot of characters. Enrique, or Ken as he's known, is the premise of this film is that Ken has put together a live stream crew of other Filipino celebrities who are going to go explore ghost hunters style the most haunted locations on earth, and they're starting and unfortunately ending their careers with Xinling Hospital. So that's the premise of the movie. The characters are Jane De Leon and Rob Gomez, both of whom are actual movie stars, and typically I think they're cast as action stars.
Yep.
There's Alexa Miro, who is kind of like a host, like a TV host, I believe, and a vlogger. MJ Lastimosa, who is a beauty queen. Ref Pineda, who is a
TikTok tarot reader?
Internet tarot reader.
Yeah.
So that's his whole thing. He's like the spiritual expert on this mission. Ryan Zarkaru Azurin, who is an urban explorer. And another character who we'll mention is Lee Fung, and he becomes their Taiwanese guide for a very short period of time during the movie. So, to the summary. The movie opens with a totally unrelated group, 2 foreigners exploring Xinling Hospital. We see the girl's boyfriend disappears. There's a spooky sound. We turn around, jump scare, cut to the title card, strange frequencies. We get into an interview, which sort of introduces you to the same characters that we've just met. This is an interview before they get to Taiwan that Ken filmed with another like talk show, that they're doing this new show. And it's a live stream event. We have Ken, Rob, Jane, Alexa, MJ, Raph, Zark. And from there, we kind of just smash cut to them getting to Taiwan. They have a little like travel montage of enjoying their time in Taipei and Taoyuan, meeting their guide. And then we cut to the premise over dinner.
Yes.
Where Ken says that he has arranged, if they can reach 3 million views, everybody will get double bonuses.
Money.
They never tell us how much money that is, but it is apparently worth it because most everybody immediately signs on, but we do get some important information. Jane doesn't want to do it initially because she finds out that they actually don't have a permit to go where they're going.
So it is illegal what they're doing.
Yes. If they get caught, they will end up in Taiwanese jail. The next day, then, their guide, Lee, he doesn't care. He's taking them there because he also wants in on this money.
Of course.
So they drive to the hospital, but not before stopping by a medium. She knows what they're doing. So at first, she starts off by giving them some, like, practical advice. Don't touch anything. Don't take anything. You beware of, like, spirits that want to play tricks.
Yeah.
But slowly through the conversation, she turns on them and eventually starts to accuse them of like, these places aren't zoos for spirits. What you're doing is really disrespectful. You shouldn't do it. And if you do something like this, something terrible is going to happen to you. This is a really cursed place. Everyone is shook, but they still go anyway because they're in their minds, I guess. They're already here in Taiwan. So they end up at the hospital, and the second warning bell is that their guide basically bribes the guard to the hospital to let them in. And the guard initially doesn't want them to go in because there's a lot of attention on this hospital, especially because the previous 2 foreigners just died here. I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, very recently.
There's been bad stuff recently happening, and don't do this.
The eye of the law in public is on Xinling Hospital. The guy doesn't care, though. He literally pushes the old man out of the door and closes it. And then in retaliation, the guard locks him inside because he's mad. Most of the Filipino crew is upset by this. They don't like being locked in. But Ken, ever the fearless leader, says, doesn't matter. Listen, Lee says he'll let us out in the morning. We'll deal with that later. Let's just set up and get this show on the road.
So they set up headquarters in what looks like a lobby or something?
Like the atrium or something there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they give everybody a rig, which is basically like a cell phone-like camera.
So there were 2. So one forward, one face.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
So their face is always in view.
Yes. And this is kind of the premise of most of the film. If you look up any pictures from it, you'll see a lot of close-ups. That's because for just about the entirety of the film, everyone, including eventually Ken, is wearing one of these rigs that keeps a camera about a foot. I said 6 inches, but it's about a foot away from their face. So we get a lot of reaction play. So everybody dons these. And before they start streaming, Raph, the spiritual expert, and Jane decide to do a tarot poll just to see how things are going to go. And they get just about the worst response possible. They basically get death, and death. And so they try to protect themselves the best way they can. But then they just kind of go along with it. They're already locked in the building. The other thing is, while they're setting up, the movie star, Rob, sees their Taiwanese guide Lee attempt to set up some fake spooky stuff, which gives Rob the impression that everything from here on out is faked.
Yeah.
So once I start the stream, they do sort of a ritual where they first invite the ghosts to show themselves politely, where they're like, hey, we're here. We're interested in like your story. Yep. And then Rob, who thinks this is fake, is like, we're not scared of you. Come on out. The ghosts bang a bunch of pots and pans. They hate that. So they all head out to go see what's up, and they come across the organ room. It's disgusting. Poor Jane is immediately throwing up.
Yeah, gross.
Because it smells horrific.
At this point, it's abandoned.
There's unidentifiable organs. There's, like I said on the last one, maybe a baby in a jar.
Yeah.
Unclear. The professional urban explorer, Zark, tries to tell everybody, do not touch anything.
Don't touch anything.
Because he is also a paranormal investigator. He does these two things all the time.
Yeah.
So Zark is like,
really bad.
This is a bad vibe.
Yeah.
The spirit medium, Raph, is like, this is a bad vibe. Jane is like, I'm going to vomit right now. Yeah. We have to leave. Rob is like, this is probably fake. He picks up a tumor off the ground. It's unidentifiable, but we've called it a tumor.
We've called it the tumor.
And kind of chases everybody around the room with it before hitting Zark in the face with this wet, old, unidentifiable tumor. Everybody in the room says, too far, Rob. You need to calm down. Zark is upset, but he's like, let's continue with the stream. And Ken, who is not in the room, basically managing the battle station, is like, the views are going up. So they continue. They decide to split off into 3 groups.
Yep.
One group which is going to the children's ward, one group which is going to the operating room, OR, and one group which is going to the surgery wing.
Yeah, they're paired off, basically.
In these groups, we'll start off by following Zark and MJ. Mm-hmm. They never really make it to their ward. They're going to the surgery wing, I believe. And they're just about there when Zark starts coughing and then immediately throwing up blood. And MJ, she's like, this isn't right. We're going to get you back. We're going to go back.
Yeah.
And Zark, unfortunately, is like, I think this is a bad sign. But he ends up coughing up too much blood to say anything else after this point.
Yeah.
So MJ takes him back to headquarters.
Yeah.
And they're kind of removed from urban exploration for a little while.
Yeah.
Then in the children's quarters, the 2 actors, Jane and Rob, are kind of poking around. They have some research that says that maybe there was a murderous nurse who killed a bunch of babies. But Jane finds a book which seems to have children's drawings of a mysterious, creepy, dark entity in it.
With multiple arms.
With multiple arms that is actually the one killing the children.
Yeah.
So she's not feeling it. Jane sees a spirit and they run screaming into an incubator room. And while they're trying to debate, are the spirits real? Are the spirits not real? They look, they see a bloody mess. They open it up and it is a baby.
No.
Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed.
This baby unleashes a sonic scream.
Yeah.
And they basically have to flee the scene and go back to headquarters. And even Ken's equipment from where he is bugs out.
Yeah.
We cut back to Raph and Alexa.
Oh, no.
They are in the operating room and they find an altar to something. Raph is like, this is bad energy. And Alexa prays to it, which Raph says,
what
stop.
Are you doing?
You don't know what you're praying to. But then they find a secret door.
The door pops open by itself after she was worshiping at this altar, mystery altar.
You're right. Ken says, do it for the views.
No.
So they go into the newly opened secret door, lined with yellow seals, to find an effigy to another 6-armed demon, which is what we're going to be calling it from now on because that's what we realize it is.
Yeah.
Raph is sounding the alarm that this is not good.
Don't touch that. What are you doing?
They get into a fight. Yeah. And Alexa eventually leaves him like, oh, fine. Storms off on her own. They leave the room. But the demon has been unleashed. If it wasn't unleashed before, it is unleashed now. Mm-hmm. Everybody reconvenes and they all realize that Zark is dying. So they ask their Taiwanese guide to call somebody on the outside. Yeah. He walks away and then 30 seconds later comes back and is like, no one's answering the phone.
Yeah.
They realize Alexa is missing.
Yep.
So Jane decides to stay with Zark, and everybody else splits up to go look for Alexa, who has not returned after visiting the altar. She hasn't returned because she's been cornered by a creepy person who is intimidating Ken. She knows it's not Ken because it has the double demon voice and is wandering around asking for her. Mm-hmm. In an attempt to run from this demon, which is chasing her and copying things that Ken has said, she hides in a
walk-in freezer
where she is able to bar the door.
Yeah.
And she finds a camcorder for those 2 foreigners that we saw at the very beginning of the movie.
Yay.
And what she learns is that something in this hospital is capable of mimicking your friends.
Yep.
So basically like a doppelganger situation.
Yep.
But at this point, only Alexa knows this. From here, things get really complicated.
Yep.
So I'm just going to kind of go through and talk about everything that happens character to character. Let's start with Raph and MJ. MJ, she's pretty composed. She doesn't really believe in the supernatural, so she also thinks that this is probably faked. They end up separated. Raph believes he hears his friend, Alexa.
Yeah.
So he follows that voice only to find the death tarot card, and 1 second later is stabbed to death.
Yes.
Then we get back to Rob and Ken.
Now they choose to split up.
Yes. Ken ends up in the penthouse at the top. He finds a cute little human skin photo album and an altar to the demon.
Yeah.
Where he realizes that cultists have been luring people here to sacrifice them to the demon. He runs away from here after being haunted for a little bit and eventually meets up with Alexa.
Yep.
So Ken and Alexa are together for the rest of the movie. Rob wanders off and he gets gotten by some ghosts. The only person we haven't checked in with now is Jane, who is kind of losing her mind by herself. She tries to break out, but the door is firmly locked. The windows have bars on them. She can't make headway, so she takes a hammer and walks through the hospital, only to find something impersonating Rob. It turns around and it's a doppelganger demon.
Of course.
Luckily, she's an action star, so she hits it with a hammer and runs back to the main base camp.
Yeah.
At base camp, she can't reach anybody when Rob suddenly appears over her shoulder, and without thinking, she smashes it in the face with a hammer to realize it was the real Rob.
Yep.
So, at this point, Rob is dead.
Yep.
Zark has died from his tumor-induced illness.
His tumor slap.
Their Taiwanese guide has disappeared, and he's never found for the rest of the
We
film.
can't find Lee anymore.
Lee's gone.
Yep.
And Raph is also dead. Jane, Alexa, and Ken all decide to meet up. MJ is missing. They share information. Unfortunately, on the way to meet up, Jane gets chased by the demon mimicking
herself. Yep.
She gets locked in a room, and ultimately the demon chokes her out while her friends try to rescue her from the other side unsuccessfully.
Yeah. Poor Jane.
Now the only one, Jane put up a good fight.
Oh, she did.
But she didn't make it. Now the only two who are left are Alexa and Ken. They decide it's just time to go. And
MJ.
they hear MJ.
Yes.
And whether or not it's MJ, she's beyond saving. They run screaming all the way up to almost the roof, where the demon catches up to them and, mimicking Alexa this time, starts to strangle her, while Ken yells at the demon to stop.
Yep.
That this is enough.
Yep.
The demon then turns back to Ken and sort of mocks him with his own words about his excitement for the project, saying, "This is what you wanted. We all wanted something like this. Isn't that right?" And Ken, possessed by something, says, "You're right. This is what I wanted." And he runs at the demon, who disappears.
Yep.
And Ken smashes through a window and falls 4 stories
to
in
his death.
what appears to be a suicide to people who find his body. The stream hits 3 million views. We do find out in a post-credits scene, though, that Ken secretly wanted to film a movie where he died in the end. Unfortunately, his dream came true when he really died in the end.
Yep.
And we also find out that Alexa was able to crawl her way out, so she escapes.
Yep.
And we also find out that Lee, their Taiwanese guide, was probably a member of the cult the whole time as he films a video, this time about the Filipino film crew who disappeared at Xinling Hospital, daring new explorers. Are you brave enough to explore the haunted Xinling Hospital? And that's where the movie ends.
Yep.
Michelle, what were your thoughts on Strange Frequencies?
I thought it was surprisingly good. And all of the actors in it were really convincingly terrified. Like the sweat. We did say that there's a sweat trigger warning. But if I had imagined, if I were ever to somehow wind up in this situation, I would be also profusely sweaty and crying the majority of the time.
Yeah, the terror from just about every member of the crew was genuinely believable.
Yeah.
The meltdowns all felt believable.
So pros, it was a very, very scary. I did not like The number of jump scares in it.
Lots of jump scares.
Lots of jump scares. So super suspenseful.
So something this film did very well was the control of the suspense of the film.
Yes.
Because something that we don't have time to get across in our summary is how often they made you think something was going to happen only to delay it or have someone walk it off.
Yep.
And that was something that was kind of happening through the whole movie.
Oh, the suspense.
It was very well controlled.
The anxiety.
Yes. But also, I think it was something where, while there were a lot of jump scares, it's one of the few movies where I haven't resented them because I think that they were very well paced out as sort of that like relief.
Right.
So how well do you think that this movie matches up against Taiwanese horror?
I haven't been privy to too much Filipino horror. And this kind of makes me want to go and watch some of them. Kind of a little bit with company in broad daylight.
Yeah. At 2 p.m. in the afternoon on a bright sunny summer day.
With my dog.
With your dog. She left us during the filming.
It's so sad.
I was so sad. She wasn't interested.
So, but as far as comparing it to Taiwanese films, they did not linger too much on the ritual and the tradition very much at all. Yeah. Whereas most Taiwanese supernatural films will go into quite a bit of detail with that. So in that sense, not very Taiwanese.
Yeah. I do feel like, too, they could have had a little bit more fun with some of the Taiwanese conventions. So, for example, something we've brought up actually several times this year is holding your breath to hide from ghosts, which I almost thought was happening in this movie, but didn't. And I feel like that could have been something for them to discover, some of these like folk beliefs. To be fair, our supernatural experts, those were the first 2 people to die. They very cleverly, I guess the ghosts, when I say clever, got rid of those 2 first.
Yeah. I would have appreciated a little bit more mythology being revealed there because I was very curious what was going on.
Honestly, I feel like maybe they could have revealed less because I feel like everybody was playing themselves. I feel like everybody's role here was, their direction was play yourself in a crisis.
Yeah.
And when I'm in a crisis, I'm not trying to figure out the bigger picture of what's going on.
I do not care.
Right. So actually, I'm going to rewind that statement. I feel like we even could have done with like a little bit less. I think the premise of this place is really haunted and we've discovered evidence that something even bigger and badder is here. I think that's enough to carry it. But yeah, depiction of Taiwan, fine. Actually, this is, I would say, probably the most genuine depiction of Taiwan so far, as much as we've said everything else, because it was filmed on site.
On location.
In Xinling Hospital.
Really in the hospital.
And we literally found another filming location. So if we were to give anything, I would also say mad props to you, Strange Frequencies, for the on-location stuff. I hope you guys did do some cleansing stuff.
Yes, please. I hope you did. Really did.
They do sell, I think we discussed this last week, they sell what looks like a hot pot soup base, but it's a cleansing bath.
Yeah, do that.
You should buy that, probably. So, if you were to rate this from 1, which is laughable, to 10, which is I peed my pants and I called my mom, where would you rate it?
I would rate it 10.
Really?
I would rate it 10. I couldn't even look at some of the jump scares. I couldn't look. They were so effective at building up the suspense that something is going to scare you. I was trying really hard not to look at the TV.
Yeah.
Because I was too scared to do so.
Yeah.
So maybe a little pee came out.
And that's the meter, guys. That's what we said, and we can never change it from that. So for me, I would rate it. I'm rating it a 6 because I feel like it's a very watchable horror movie, as long as you're kind of okay with like a middling level of like supernatural stuff. There's also the CGI and stuff isn't top rate, but for another time, I actually think that's okay in horror movies. I think that sort of lends something to the uncanniness of something trying and eventually learning to mimic people perfectly, which was really cool and bad. Bad as in it made me feel bad to watch.
Yes.
But it was a really good effect.
I'm glad we had cookies.
I'm glad we had cookies. And I hope we do this again next year. I'm sure Michelle doesn't.
No. I will do it, but no, I no.
Not looking forward to it.
No.
Thank you all for joining us during this year's Fall Freakout. We will be back with some more likely not scary episodes.
Thank goodness.
This coming week on Radio Taiwan International. I was your host, Amanda Stevens, with our guest co-host,
Michelle Chang,
who you can listen to next week on her own show,
Geek Out.
And, in the meantime, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Which is why we do this in October.
Hey.
Happy Halloween from us here at RTI to you. Matt, shout out Strange Frequencies. Love that movie.
Yeah, good job.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.